Introducing MyRealEstateShow.tv. Your host and director, Mariah Martin, buyer agent with RE/MAX Real Estate in Allentown.
Hello and welcome to MyRealEstateShow.tv, a real estate talk show geared exclusively for Lehigh Valley home buyers. Our goal is to reveal all of the hidden real estate secrets and give you the confidence you need to take control of your future home purchase. Special guests for today's show include Melissa Falcone, mortgage advisor with Allied Home Mortgage Corporation of Bethlehem, and Joe Popolowski, certified home inspector with Advantage Home Inspection Services, also in Bethlehem. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to negotiate the home inspection after it's complete. Let's take a look at some of the topics we will be covering in today's show.
Mariah's topics for today's show include home warranty companies, tips for evaluating, what is a certificate of occupancy, and negotiating after the home inspection. Melissa's topics for today's show include how do banks feel about home inspection repairs, the appraisal process, what to expect, and appraisal repairs separate from the home inspection, typical repairs requested by a bank. Joe's topics for today's show include home inspection repairs and cost for repairs, and posing threats to home insurance coverage. Presenting negotiating after the home inspection.
In today's topic, we're going to talk about negotiating after the home inspection. Now, depending on your agreement of sale with the seller, you would be choosing one of two options when you decide you want to make your offer conditioned upon the home inspection. The first option will be, Mr. Seller, I'm a smart buyer and I'm going to get a home inspection, but no matter what that home inspection says, I can walk and get my money back. Option number two will be, Mr. Seller, I'm a smart buyer and I'm going to get a home inspection. But no matter what that home inspection says, I will be forced to negotiate with you before I walk away and get my money back. Now, typically, I do suggest that my buyers go with the option two because the name of the game is the buyer wants to buy and the seller wants to sell. So the name of the game is negotiations. Now, the purpose of a home inspection is to make sure that when a buyer gets that home inspection, they look at the home in great details. Usually a home inspection is going to run you about 3 hours on a 2,000 square foot home, and longer obviously on a larger home. So what you're looking for is major structural or major mechanical items that you could not see through your first two walkthroughs in the home. Typically home buyers are looking at floor plans and features, and they're not going to be looking for structural issues, and they're not going to have knowledge of looking at structural issues, so they get a professional home inspector out there to do that for them. So at the home inspection, if you find out that there's a major roof leak, obviously this is something that's going to be a concern of the home buyer. They made their offer conditioned upon the fact that there was no roof leak because on the seller's disclosure, I'm sure they said there was no roof leak. Homeowners may not know that there's problems with the property, and typically that is the case. So you're just protecting yourself and making sure that that roof leak is found out before you actually go to settlement on the property. So when negotiating the home inspection and finding out that there's a roof leak, the best way to negotiate costs of repairs is to get professional estimates. Do not guess on how much something's going to cost. You're going to want to get a professional inspector out there, professional repair. So if it's a roof repair, you're going to get a roofer out there to do an estimate on the repair, and then you're going to submit this to the seller with either asking the seller if they will either pay for it in full, either you'll compromise and you'll pay half and they'll pay half, they'll give you a credit, or they can do the repair before settlement. Typically, I refer my clients to either have the repair estimate credit done, because then only you know how you're going to be doing the repair, and you hire your contractor. So basically what they'll be doing is giving you a credit for that, and you'll bring that much less to settlement. So as an example, if the repair was $1,000 and the seller agreed to giving you $500 of that $1,000, and that's what you negotiated, then you would be bringing $500 less to settlement on the closing cost side of the transaction. So just to give you an idea, whenever there's repairs, you don't want to guess, because the seller will feel like they're being taken advantage of if there's no proof of what that repair cost is. Yes, it does take a little bit longer to get estimates done, but this is an investment that you're going to be living in for the next 5, 10 to 30 years, and you want to make sure you're protected and things go the way you want them to and you're comfortable with it. Hopefully this information have provided you with a little bit more knowledge about negotiating the home inspection after it's complete.
Presenting what is a certificate of occupancy.
Hello, in today's topic we're going to talk about what is a certificate of occupancy. Now this information is in regards to purchasing a pre-owned home, not new construction. A certificate of occupancy is something that the local municipality where the property is located may or may not require on the property. What they do is they may require the seller to get an inspection from the municipality inspector before they settle on their property. It's nothing like a home inspection. They're coming out, they're looking for typical things like handrails, GFI outlets, things like that. So please don't think that just because there's a municipal inspection that you should forego your home inspection, because that is definitely not the case. The reason for this information is to provide you with the data that you need before you make an offer on a property. You'll be able to see that a property may need a certificate of occupancy if you look at the Lehigh Valley Multiple Listing Client Detail Sheet at the bottom. It'll say certificate of occupancy, and then it'll say yes or no. It's something that you want to make sure that the seller has already ordered before you make an offer, because if there's repairs that are needed, you want to make sure that it's negotiated up front to make sure if the seller's going to be responsible for those repairs or you're going to be responsible. Now, if it's a seller-occupied property, in most cases, I request that the certificate of occupancy is cleared and the seller take care of any repairs. But in more cases than not, if the house is an estate property, if it is a short sale, a foreclosure or bank-owned property, in more cases than not, the buyer will not only be responsible for any repairs that come up on the CO report, but also they'll be required for scheduling the initial inspection with the inspector. Now, if there are repairs on the CO report, please keep in mind these repairs don't need to be done prior to settlement. They may be done after you own the property, and you will have a deadline anywhere from 6 months to a year where you'll have to do those repairs and then call the inspector back for a reinspection. I hope this information was helpful to you, and now you know just a little bit more about what is a certificate of occupancy.